Hi, boys and girls, it's me, Rattenborough. Today we're going to talk about a group of animals that you already know a little something about. One of these animals is Hilda Hippo. Also, I am one of these. Can you remember what we're going to be talking about today? You're right, it's mammals, and you are a mammal too. Who can name some characteristics of mammals? What ways are you like Hilda and me? Nice job. Yes, we are warm-blooded vertebrates with hair. I think you could even help me teach this lesson. Let's begin with the name of the group. It's called mammals, and it comes from the Latin word mammalia. The word refers to the group of animals who possess mammary glands. And mammary glands are milk-producing organs belonging to female mammals. When female mammals give birth, they secrete a nourishing substance, which is milk, to feed their young. That is one of the primary characteristics of mammals. We feed our young milk. That's right, rats drink mother's milk. Hippopotamus drink mother's milk, and so do humans. The mother's milk has all the nutrition that a baby needs. How wonderful is that? A baby rat that has its mother's nearby never has to raid or change through garbage cans for food. He can stay inside where it's warm, enjoying a lovely liquid meal prepared by his mother's own body. Looking at this slide makes me a little sad when I think back on the days when my mom always had a warm meal ready for me, before the days when I became an adult and now have to hunt, sometimes for long, grueling days, just to find a scrap. Oops, excuse me, students. I just got lost in a lovely memory from my childhood. Please forgive me, and we'll get back to my slides about mammals. After all, the show must go on. Mammals have backbones. Reach around and check out your backbone once again to make sure that your backbone is still there. Is it still there? Of course it is. Without backbones, we wouldn't be able to sit up straight or even hold our head up in the air. And our spinal cord that houses the nerves that sends messages to our brains would be unprotected. So, because we all have backbones, scientists call us what? Yep, you're right. We are vertebrates. Reptiles, amphibians, and fish all have a relatively low metabolism, and as you have learned, are classified as cold-blooded animals. Like birds, mammals, such as this horse, have a very high metabolism because they're burning lots of energy to help them maintain a constant internal body temperature. What is the term that taxonomists use to classify mammals in terms of body temperature? Are we warm-blooded or cold-blooded? You're right, mammals are warm-blooded. One of you was right when you said that mammals are covered in hair of fur. Some of us are hairier than others. Hilda hippo and other hippopotamuses don't look so hairy, do they? But you might remember that they do have a little bit of hair around their mouths and on the tip of their ears and tails. Let's take a look at a few of our furrier friends. If you look right in here, up by his binoculars, you can briefly see the little hair that the hippopotamus has on him. Here is one of my favorite mammals. I love his stately long neck and envy his ability to reach high into trees to eat leaves and to see into the distance. I bet that if I were as tall as a giraffe, I could spot my enemies more quickly. Does anyone know what this other animal is on the right? This animal right here? It's a yak, and yak needs their shaggy hair and dense woolly undercoats to help keep them warm on the cold plateau where they live. And you can see in the background that it looks like there's snow on the mountain, so it's very cold where they live. That's why they have all that fur. Tigers and leopards have fur too. Look at this Bengal tiger and this beautiful snow leopard of Central Asia. Both of these cat species are on the list of endangered species. That's a list of animals whose numbers have dwindled due to the loss of habitats and overhunting. Furry bears come in all shapes and sizes and live in all different parts of the world. Look at this giant panda. It has many characteristics found among different kinds of bears. polar bears, black bears, grizzly bears, and sun bears. The giant panda is a good example of an animal which has proven challenging to classify. Taxonomists have actually changed their mind about which animal it is most closely related to. They used to classify the giant panda with the red panda in a group that included raccoon. Now, with the help of more modern scientific tools, taxonomists believe that giant pandas to be more closely related to bears, even though it mostly eats bamboo. Does anyone know what this is? It's a marmot, a type of squirrel. And here's another type of squirrel, a flying squirrel. A flying squirrel. We can see it right up here. These squirrels don't really fly, but they do have two folds of skin on the sides of their bodies that lets them take great leaps, gliding through the air with the leap of their tails for steering. The only mammals that can truly fly are bats. They have skin between their long fingers that stretch out, turning arms into wings when they open. Bats may seem like birds, but they are not because they have no feathers. They actually have a fine fur, and bats give birth to live young. I bet you recognize these more common mammals, and I bet some of you have furry mammal pets, don't you? Take a look at the fur on this cat. Now, that's what I call furry. This is a Maine Coon cat. I must say his fur puts my fur to shame. Most, but not all, mammals are terrestrial, meaning that they live on land. Can you think of an aquatic mammal? A mammal that lives in water? I'll give you a hint. It's one of my friends. It's Hilda. It's Hilda the hippo. Ah, yes. Hippopotami love the water, but they're actually semi-aquatic, meaning that they live partly in water and partly on land. Usually, Hilda and other hippopotami stand in the water during the day to keep them nice and cool. Then they graze on land when evening starts to fall. Through recent study and discussion based on the data and the computer system equipment you just heard about, taxonomists now think that the closest living relative of hippopotami are whales, which are fully aquatic mammals. Scientists used to think that hippos were mostly related to pigs, but now new information from modern science and the tools is changing the ways that hippos are classified. Whales are marine mammals, meaning that they live in the ocean. The blue whale is not only the largest mammal, it is the largest animal on Earth. Blue whales can grow up to 100 feet long. That's a little longer than a basketball court. Its tongue alone weighs more than 3 tons. Imagine that. Manatees and smaller whales such as dolphins and porpoises are also fully aquatic marine mammals. They share saltwater seas with walruses and seals, semi-aquatic animals that like to wander on shore just like Hilda hippo does. Marine mammals are believed by scientists to have evolved from land mammals, and they share many of the same characteristics. They are warm-blooded, have backbones, and fur or hair, even though sometimes it is the tiniest amount of hair, and they breathe oxygen from the air. Remember when we talked about how fish use gills to breathe in oxygen from the water? Remember how in amphibians those gills develop into lungs, requiring amphibians to come to the surface of the water to breathe air? Well, mammals also have lungs. All mammals have lungs and an underlying diaphragm that assists breathing. When the diaphragm tightens, it creates more space in the lung cavity, and air is drawn into the lungs. All mammals, including whales, dolphins, and manatees, must come to the surface of the water now and then to breathe. Some mammals also live in freshwater. I want to introduce you to another semi-aquatic relative of mine. This is the capybara. He, like me, is classified as a rodent and likes to swim. Have I told you, incidentally, that I, Rattenborough, am a good swimmer? I'm rather proud of that fact. The capybara can stay underwater for a full 5 minutes without coming up for air, a feat that helps him escape predators. Did you know that capybaras are one of the favorite foods of anacondas like Anna? Another semi-aquatic mammal, also a rodent, is a beaver, and you can see the beaver right here in the middle. It makes its home near rivers along with river otters. One of the most unusual semi-aquatic mammals is the duck-billed platypus, and you can see that one right here all the way on the right. It has a large rubbery bill like a duck in the bird group, the flat, broad tail of a beaver in the mammal group, and a reptile's webbed feet. This odd, venomous creature lives in Australian waters. The duck-billed platypus is unusual for another reason. It is one of the only mammals that lays eggs. Spiny anteaters, also native of Australia, and nearby islands are the only other egg-laying mammals. All other mammals are live-bearing, which means that they give birth to live young. The young are nourished inside the mother's body, and most are fully developed when they are born, looking like smaller versions of their parents. A few, like kangaroo, are part of a group called mammals, and those are called marsupials. Marsupial babies are very underdeveloped when they are born, but they move directly to the mother's protective pouch to be nourished by her milk. All mammals, whether hatched from eggs or born live, feed on the mother's milk in their infancy. As warm-blooded animals with high metabolic rates, mammals must eat more food than other animals their size in order to store enough energy to keep their bodies warm. So what do mammals eat? Think of all the different types of mammals that you've learned about today. Then think about your own diet. Do you eat the same foods as cats or dogs? Do elephants eat oranges? Do whales eat green beans? Mammals eat a variety of foods depending on where they live. Some mammals are carnivores, which means they eat meat. Others are herbivores, meaning they only eat plants. And still others eat both plants and animals. What are they called? Good, omnivores. Remember learning that birds' beaks may provide clues to their diets? The same is true of mammals' mouths. Wide mouths and sharp-pointed teeth suggest that these mammals may be carnivores. Wolves, whales, and bats are all carnivores. Herbivores are more likely to have long jaws, long tongues, and flat teeth. Deer, sheep, monkeys, and pandas are all herbivores because they eat plants. Omnivore mammals include bears, chipmunks, and mice. Many humans are omnivores, but humans think about the choices they make about what to eat. Omnivores generally have sharper front teeth and flat teeth for chewing in the back of their mouth. Think about your mouth. Do you think humans were designed to eat meat, only plants, or both meat and plants? Why do you think so? Next time, we'll look at the last of my slides. Be ready for a review of the 5 vertebrate groups of the animal kingdom. We have amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. I'm sure you are becoming quite skilled at classifying animals, and we'll get to have some fun with doing just that. Can't wait. See you soon.